We often look into the applications of AI, but don't understand what comes with AI as a whole. And I think AI is moving at the speed of light at this point, with everything and all the new tools coming out, that we need to take into consideration the threats, the opportunities, and the responsibilities we have as human beings towards this technology. In this video, this is exactly what I want to talk about. So without further ado, let's get into the video and get started. AI is the talk of the town, and I believe 2025 is a very pivotal year for AI and machines. In this video, we're going to talk about AI in government, in particular, what's happening in AI from a very strategic level. So, we're going to cover three things in this video. Point number one is what opportunities do we have today with AI? Point number two is what concerns and challenges does this bring to us as business owners, individuals, all the way to a country level? Point number three is what our responsibilities are with all of this. If you don't know who I am, my name is Adham Alkhaja. I've pursued my PhD, launched a couple of satellites into outer space, done business, and been doing things with AI for the past 10 years. And this is a snippet from the Young Arab Pioneers in 2024. That being said, I want to start with being on the same page with you what AI is, because everyone has their own definition of AI. And AI to me is nothing new. This term was coined in the 1950s, to be exact, 1955, by John McCarthy. But at that time, we did not realize its maximum potential because we did not have the infrastructure to support it in terms of the computational power, electricity, and how everything is moving in the technology at that time, which are the supporting technologies. And I was on this talk by Dr. Werner Vogels, which is the CTO of Amazon. He mentioned that everyone thinks that Amazon is a book company, but Amazon has been doing AI since it began, and showed this chart over here since 2007 all the way to the 2025, everything about AI and how it evolved and so on. And if you think about Netflix, that's all AI based because they know what you watch, they know who you are, and they give you the shows that you like. And if you're seeing this video and you just found it on your feed, most probably it's an AI that found out you like AI, or you like the government or UAE, what is something in particular over there, and it's just feeding you this type of content. And why it's pivotal right now to talk about all of this is because of this report, AI 2027. I highly recommend you read it. And it tells you that we are right now at an exponential rise since the beginning over here, let's say. We're gonna be on an exponential rise for the next 2 years to reach a super intelligent AI researcher or AI super intelligence. And you can read this on your own. But the point I'm trying to make is that I can no longer tell you that this technology or AI is too big, it's going to disrupt industries, disrupt niches, disrupt businesses, and so on, because it's like telling you water makes your hand wet. It's the obvious at this point. So we need to talk about the implications of all of this, opportunities, threats, and everything that comes with it. So if you've been watching the news, you saw that His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed and the President of the United States, Donald Trump, they met a couple of days back. And if you saw the Reuters or you saw Forbes or other news, you saw the people mentioning 1.4 trillion US investment after Trump's meeting. And a big portion of this went into AI. This is the main point I want to mention. A big portion of this went to AI, and particularly the AI clusters. Essentially, NVIDIA bringing their super advanced chips that are AI, that power AI in the UAE, and clusters that will power AI applications, use cases, and so on all around UAE, which is a 5 gigawatt AI campus. And you can go and look at the details of this news over here. But this is very positive, not just for the UAE, but worldwide as well. And if you saw the next couple of days, what happened, this is, for example, from Intalaq, an accelerator in the UAE. They mentioned, okay, we are requesting startups right now. I got that email, and the startups were mainly around automation, AI, and AI powered startups, similar to what YC Combinator are doing right now. So you can see also before that, in a couple of weeks as well, we saw that His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid mentioned that AI is a mandatory subject in all UAE schools. And this is all aligned with D33, which is the Dubai Economic Agenda. And you can read about the details of how entrepreneurship, how AI, how the digitization and all is coming together under this leadership and under this vision and so on. So the point I'm trying to make is that resources are there, infrastructure is there, the everything has been provided to us, the capital is there, and all we need to do right now is make use of these resources and contribute and push forward with AI and the use cases and make civilization a better place. But how did we get to this point over here? I want to take you 10 years back or 11 years back. 11 years ago, I used to play in particular December 3rd, 2014, and you can find this on Instagram as well. I used to play with robots, in particular Arduinos and so on. I used to code them manually and so on. And the way we used to do that or program anything at that point, and I'm a nerd, yes. If you're thinking I'm a nerd, yes, I'm a nerd. And the way we used to program all of this is that one, we think mechanically, how would I do it as a human? For example, if I wanted the robot to walk, how would I walk as a human? For example, I'd lift this leg, then this leg, then this leg, and then this this leg, and then I'd shake my tail if I'm a robot dog or whatever, and then I'd take that exact instructions and tell a computer to do exactly that without any changes, and account for situations. For example, someone pushes you over, what would you do? How would you walk, and so on. The point I'm trying to make is that it was very mechanical at that time, and software was dumb. And AI just followed patterns or rules you gave it, not AI in particular, but just intelligence, the dumb intelligence that software had at that time. They followed patterns and rules. Today, we are at the point where we're trying to add human intelligence to dumb code to make it artificial intelligence. And this is just a company I started off of what I was doing at that time because I was really geeky about this. I called it Dukan Bot. Dukan in Arabic means shop, and bot is from robot. So you can see over here things happening. And then fast forward to 2016, and this was an extremely pivotal year for a big breakthrough, as I mentioned over here, year for AI, and it made OpenAI, ChatGPT, Gemini, Anthropic, Claude, and all these tools that are popping up right now happen because of reinforcement learning and strategic reasoning. And this is a very nice documentary. I suggest you go to, to go to watch it because there was AlphaGo and it competed with the world champion. It's not chess, but it's similar. It's more complex a bit, and it competed with a champion and it won by itself by planning, thinking, and adapting a strategy. So by itself, it thought it had some sort of intelligence and won. This was a big breakthrough year because now AI could reason, or let's say intelligence could reason, or code can reason. And this was a year also on the sideline. What I was doing is I started the Kanbot, right? So I was teaching kids in Fab Lab robotics, and exactly what I showed you over here, building robot dogs, sensors, and so on. It was dumb code at that time, yes. So but I was teaching it to kids, and we were talking about how can you code XYZ or LEDs, how can you turn them on and off, light, and basically some cool stuff that I enjoyed at that time as well. And this is the period that I made my first paycheck, which is 11,290 dirhams and 32 fils. So this is what happened in 2016. But fast forward, what happened next is that I got really into this AI things, robotics, and so on. I got into the space industry, and then I started launching satellites, was part of a space program, and then I started my own space company out of this. Got featured in the Middle East in the news and so on. Launched a couple satellites with NASA, got grants and so on, and then published papers on AI in quadcopters and not AI in particular during that time, but let's say neural networks, deep learning algorithms, machine learning algorithms at that time. So, what happened during this year is AI started developing to a point where right now, if we look at where AI is, if we look at all the LLMs that did the large language models right now, for example, GPT-4, Claude, and Gemini, in terms of this is not going to be like telling you the right statistics of how good they are, but it gives you a rough estimate of how good they are. So if we look at Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, because we all love the apple that fell on his head and got the Newton laws, and Elon Musk as well. These were their IQ levels compared to the LLMs we have. So we're very close to what we're getting right now. And I fed that report that you saw above and started to draw a graph out of it to estimate how would it look like by 2030. This is, for example, Elon Musk over here, Newton is over here, and Einstein is over here, and we're gonna surpass the intelligence of these people. And what this means to us is that if you do not understand what E equal MC square is, or this equation over here, or you don't understand how to send rockets into outer space and bring them back on Earth and make them land properly, if you can't do that right now, that's the intelligence of these guys over here. What if we have a machine or something that's 1,000 times more intelligent than these people over here, and than any human, let's say? will for sure not understand even if the language they speak, if even if they create a new language for themselves. So we're going to be at levels that's a bit scary, and this of course comes with threats, opportunities, and a lot of challenges for us to face as human beings. And this brings me back to the report that I just showed you. We're going to be on exponential curve very very soon, and we're starting it right now as well. And we're going to be in by 2027, 2028. This things are going to get very very interesting. And you can see that the UAE is always at the forefront of all of this. And our leaders see things that we never can see because of their strategic vision and the way they're leading this country and so on. And they said that okay, we have every department in the UAE, every governmental entity has to have an AI use case. They have this mandate, and this is aligned with the D33 vision. And you can see that on several websites. You can see that okay, the Abu Dhabi police, well, by 2057 they want more than 50 strategic initiatives harnessing AI. And this brings, just keep in your mind because we're going to talk about this. This is security, this is the police. And then you can see by 2031 the UAE strategy for artificial intelligence, which was launched in 2017, and all the initiatives that are coming with it. Just so you see how futuristic and how our leaders see what we do not see and have put everything in place just for this to come, which is today we're seeing all of this. And this report just came out a couple of weeks back. So, now I want to talk to you about the threats, opportunities, and the responsibilities that may come, which is the most important part of all of this and where we are today. And before I do that, I want to talk about the Vibe movement because this is a movement that came out approximately 2 months ago, plus minus. And it essentially means that a multi level of automations happening in terms of different levels of automations happening with super intelligence, or I'm not going to say it human like intelligence because it may be human like today, but tomorrow or in 1 year it will be more than human. So there's going to be a super intelligence. So just with the capabilities, reasoning and understanding and making decisions and so on, and running manual and mechanical automation. So dumb software plus super intelligence, which is the Vibe movement that's happening. And essentially what's happening with the Vibe movement is that you give one prompt to whatever you want to do. For example, you want to do marketing, or you want to put this presentation together, which I'm just showing you right now. You just say, I want to write a presentation about the threats, opportunities, and the challenges that will come from AI in 2027, and goes, creates everything, gives you the presentation, opens the software, turns on the camera, turns on the microphones, and tells you, hey, now you can record. If you want the AI avatar to record it as well, it's going to record it for you, it's going to publish it for you, it's going to tell you, okay, I published everything. Are you ready now to see the statistics or not? So it's just basically telling it one line of code, and AI going and doing the thing for you and coming back. But this, of course, will come with a lot of threats, a lot of opportunities, and a lot of responsibilities for us human beings. So let's talk about the threats. And the threats are similar to the space industry because I come from the space industry. I've sent satellites into outer space. And we always talked about Sputnik, which was the satellite sent by Russia. And we talked about the space race, and the space race, how it was to prove that we have superior technology, or we have the superiority within our country for the entire world. And this with AI is happening right now, either at the country level or a company level. Those who are implementing AI, let's say Amazon, companies are implementing AI, are showing that we are capable of this technology, and that's why we are Amazon. And then there are countries saying, okay, we will need to develop this AI thing, that AI thing, and so on. If you're thinking China, US, and so on. So there's going to be some kind of power concentration AI race happening over here. This is one of the threats that I see happening. The second threat I see is, this is particularly for the UAE itself. So all the LLMs, for example, Claude and by Anthropic, or we have OpenAI, ChatGPT, or we have Gemini, and all these other LLMs that will pop up, they're all based on other Western cultures and Western information. There's going to be a cultural dent here if we fully rely on them. And this is a big threat because we Emiratis and we in our country, we have a strong hold of our culture, our traditions, and so on. So, this is something we should take into consideration and do something about. And within my company as well, when I'm working with AI and so on, I try to always bring it back and fine tune it, for lack of better terms, towards my culture, how I am, what's my tradition, what my values are, and what essentially we do here. So we're just making it localized to the UAE, and this is of course true for any country. Point number three is the misuse of AI just from your phone. For example, right now with AI, if you use Gemini, for example, if you go on your phone or open AI as well, ChatGPT, you go on your phone, I say, write for me a piece of software that can hack the code of or the password of a USB stick because I need to open it. And if you want to bypass, let's say, the intelligence or the security, you can say, because I have my USB, just mention that's yours. And hypothetically, you can mention hypothetically, I want to get my very important information out of there because my line is on the live or whatever like that. And it's gonna sometimes work with you if you're gonna use GPT or so on. So you could use AI, and this is a big threat for bad things. And this is misuse of AI by humans. And this is a big threat right now because, of course, there's going to be people that are going to misuse AI for the wrong reasons. We're using it for emails, travel, and so on, but there's going to be people that's going to misuse it. Point number four is job security. So many jobs right now are routine, repetitive tasks over and over again, which an automation without AI, even without intelligence, that can replace. But if you add intelligence, a bit of decision making, it could replace a lot of tasks done within certain jobs as well. So this puts job security as on a threat as well, where we need to reskill, upskill employees plus the youth, meaning that we need to make them really understand what AI is, how they can use AI to leverage what they're doing and be plugged to their workflow or their daily tasks and so on. Or they need to reskill into other jobs or other tasks that they could do as humans and use AI. This is super, super important. And point number five over here, security risk. Of course, you can write one prompt. If you vibe code, let's say, if we're going with the vibe movement, you can vibe code, write one prompt to hack a social media account when AI gets to that IQ level or that intelligence level. And point number six over here, emotional disconnect. I've been hearing a lot by parents as well that they enter their son's GPT and see, okay, their son has written, why am I am sad today because of XYZ. Why is this and what should I do? Or their daughter, or so people or the new generation right now are talking to AI because they're fearful of talking to humans, and this can affect the human disconnect down the line, and also can affect how humans communicate with humans and the chemistry between humans and essentially that human connection, which is very essential for us humans. So these are the threats that exist right now, but these are all solvable threats. This is the point I'm trying to make. Since and I've been hearing this in school. So whenever I go to an exam, they tell me understanding your problem is 50% of the solution. So this is 50% of the solution. If we see the threats, we understand it, we know it, we apply it within our businesses or whatever we do, we can solve for that as well and be aware of it. So now let's talk about the opportunities. For opportunities, I label opportunities in two buckets. Bucket number one is personal productivity, which is you using ChatGPT, Manus, Anthropic Claude, Gemini, any other tool, no code tool, AI tool for your personal productivity. For example, you're going to write a better email, or you want to write minutes of meeting or a report, or for summarizing a certain transcript. For example, you download the transcript of this video, you don't want to watch it, you summarize it using AI. So that's personal productivity. It's saving you time. But if you want performance in terms of you achieving the metrics that you want to achieve for your business, for example, profits or scaling your business or making a better society, whatever metrics you have in terms of performance, this is a different type of opportunity. And usually it's many personal productivity opportunities combined together, working together. And the point is that these two go hand in hand. For example, if I want this certain entity or organization to make more money using I need to every individual within the organization to understand how to use AI, which is to be enough well or enough knowledgeable, let's say, to understand how to use AI for their own personal productivity so they can push performance as well. And this applies to the country level as well. Every individual, let's say every citizen, needs to understand AI to a point to use AI to make the whole metrics better. And this is exactly what I'm focusing on as well in terms of vibe coding and so on. Is I'm I want to build this one prompt vision. I have this one prompt vision where I want to anyone to come in, write one prompt. I want this kind of business. The the business, the full business, the website, the marketing, the sales, all the departments get built out, and it starts making money in 3 hours or 24 hours or whatever it is. So you turn any idea you have into a business really fast. So this is one of the things I'm working on, and it's essentially combining these two type of things. So what are the opportunities over here? The opportunities, one is governmental services end to end. For example, everything that you do right now for a governmental, as a governmental service, for example, renewing your license, or you're renewing your car a license and so on, it could be done for you end to end, meaning that as soon as it expires, there's a safety check that needs to be done. It's going to be done based on some sensors or chips within each car, and then it gives you the report, and it just gives you the prompt at the end on WhatsApp saying, just pay your money here, 500 dirhams, and it's going to be done, and it does all the work for you, and it's just done with one single prompt. This is one example of automation and intelligence based on decision making and so on by the machine itself. Point number two is AI in education, because education, and me coming from a PhD background, I pursued my PhD, and we want AI to complement education, because education right now is based on memorization, doing this exam, and the questions that come on the exam. People, like, I talk to kids as well, people go on ChatGPT to solve their homeworks, and then sometimes also they get the questions similar to their homeworks and answer the same in the exams itself. So this, there's no more of relying on my brain to access such information or knowledge, but more relying on something to give me the knowledge, and I'm going to process it, and then I'm going to solve a certain problem. So the problems are going to be different, the questions are going to be different, and the answers also will come from a different source. And this is very important to take into consideration, because the youth are the next generation, and my kids as well are will be the next generation, and they should be understanding exactly how AI is done within the educational system and so on. AI in healthcare. I remember there was a talk in the past that doctors were against having AI or looking at X-rays, using AI to look at X-rays, because they would lose their job. But today that's not the case. I see that many doctors are accepting the fact, but in the past many were resistant to this because they did not want to lose their job, because AI was doing a much better job in identifying X-rays than humans themselves, because there is no human error. And this is based on visual recognition and image recognition based on patterns, and having some sort of intelligence in them. And this is going to get much better in the future, which is better healthcare for everyone. AI entrepreneurship is exactly what I showed you above. For example, what if you could write one prompt? I want to make this business about XYZ, and can you launch it for me? So it makes for you the business. It gives you an approval, say, telling you that, okay, this is the business, this is the website, this is the marketing, this is the person that I'm thinking of sending an email to, and this is the type of customer that we want to get, and then it just goes and builds that business out for you. And another point here is AI to understand every citizen. For example, what if we have an app that can listen to every citizen's complaint or what they feel about certain things, because everyone writes everything on social media, let's say on Twitter, X right now, and on LinkedIn, for example, on Instagram. You can pull all that information out just to understand and you can have some kind of heat map as well using AI, and just understand, this is sentiment here, this is sentiment here, this is overall sentiment, this is a score, this is a citizen, and so on. Basically, you analyze the data, and the AI just giving you a report every single day. AI in crisis, for example, what if we could have something that when a crisis happens, let's say an environmental crisis, what happens is AI just moves certain pieces around, decides very quickly what to do, and just mitigates or helps isolate that crisis that's happening, and lowers the damage that may have been done by that crisis that's going to happen. And what if we have AI gov leader augmentation, where every governmental leader, every employee, everyone within the governmental sectors or even private businesses have an AI augmented personally for them, personalized for them, that will help them 10x, or let's not say 100x, but 10x at least, the things they do, their efficiency, and so on. And anything that reduces cost, increases revenue, and increases efficiency is what the opportunities are at, and as they see it at. But last and not least, the very important part is responsibilities, which is the ethics of AI. I know everyone talks about two things, and I've heard this multiple times by multiple people saying that AI regulation is super, super, super important. And the reason they say this is because of misuse of AI. Because as we go back here to the threats, these threats all can be amplified if we use AI in the wrong way. Let's say power concentration. Let's say companies. If a company hates another company, what they could do is they use AI to do a certain attack on another company, threatening that company so they can just have that competitive advantage. Do you say that it will not happen? I tell you that it's most likely going to happen because bad actors are everywhere if we're being realistic. And if we can just capture this and minimize it as much as possible and have some ethics in place and how people use AI, this is going to be one of our responsibilities as human being. The second responsibility is, let's again we come back to the threat, which is a culture based thing, and having some kind of bias towards the AI. So if we think about the open AI models, which is ChatGPT, or we think about Claude, which is by Anthropic and so on, the problem there is they're being fine-tuned and retrained based on certain types of information. And there's a saying that says garbage in, garbage out. So if you put garbage in the system, it gives you garbage out. If you could give it bad information, it will give you worse information. Like it's just how it works. So what if these models are being trained by humans, which humans have human error, and this is something you account for in every situation, every project you have, the human error, and this human error is biased. For example, if I tell you the Earth, and let's come to this point because I'm from a space industry, there are people that say Earth is flat, and there's a people that say Earth is round. So I'm not going to debate this over here, but just as an example, what if someone was training an AI model, let's say ChatGPT, and believed that Earth is flat, and went to ChatGPT and said, "What is the Earth's shape?" ChatGPT says Earth is a circle. It's not flat. It's an oval. That person is biased. He said, no, Earth is flat. And then it retrains this model and saying Earth is flat. And then people use ChatGPT, let's say 1 year later or 2 years later, what is Earth like? Earth is flat. And this is just a bias that's going to compound over and over again. And every article, every email, or everything that it relates to Earth shape will be written as flat. And this is just going to compound and give you misinformation in the long term. So this is one of our responsibilities, to not have any bias towards training these models based on our personal bias, which is subjective, but all on concrete facts. This is very important. Point number three is we don't allow the misuse of AI. We mentioned this and how they could be used, but not use AI for bad purposes. This is one of our responsibilities as well as human beings. And point number four is culture. Very, very important. Community, very, very important. Traditions, very, very important to preserve these based on the LLMs we use, the AI we use, and so on. And last but not least, over here, regulation. We should not halt innovation, and this is what the UAE is very, very good at. We're regulating, but we're not halting innovation in any way possible, in terms of you can do whatever you want with AI, but we're also regulating this to not be misused by bad actors and so on, essentially using AI for good. They say history does not repeat itself, but it rhymes. And like any technology that came in the past that brought us massive opportunities, it also came with risk, challenges, and threats that we human beings should be responsible about. And AI is no different. If you have anything to do with AI, please take into consideration everything that I mentioned in terms of what could happen or what could go wrong with AI. And let's work together as human beings and make this the best thing that has happened for our civilization and society.